Today we're doing a DIY just in time for fall, my favorite time of year. If you love fall as much as I do, if you're looking for some decorating ideas, we're going to be whipping up this wreath in no time. It's just a few simple things that you need, and I'm going to show you how to do it, along with my tips and tips. Tips and tips? So while I'm waiting for the glue gun to warm up, my process really for making this kind of wreath is that I went to the craft store and I went to Michael's and I went to Dollarama and I picked up some colors. So I started kind of like with the colors and the vibe I sort of wanted for the wreath, and then I just picked up things that I thought would go. I will say that when I start with making a wreath, one of the best things to start with is probably laying a base down. And so for the base, I picked up these white leaves because, again, the colors were going to be kind of like white and brown and cream colors. So I picked up these white leaves, and what I'm going to do is hot glue them to the wreath here so that they create a base, and then we can kind of start layering some of the other things on top. Let's take the tags off. Sometimes when you get these big long stems, you don't need to keep the whole long stem. They've often got like little kind of sections here where you can see, and I usually kind of start with bending that, and that usually is enough to break the wire inside. So let's, see? Ta-da! And I know at least I want 2 of them, you know, kind of like that. I'll show it to you once I have that worked out. Okay, so hopefully this is hot enough. Ooh, yep, it's hot. So I'm gonna start with one at a time. And again, I wanted to lay this here. So I'm gonna start by putting some dabs on the actual hoop. So we're gonna put some dabs of glue on the hoop. And then I'm going to lay this on here. One of the tricks that I use is if the glue gun is a little bit hot, I have it here, I have a trusty old bread knife that you can use to kind of push on there. That way you're not burning your fingers on some hot glue. I'm going to do the same to the other side. So I find it easier to work with little drops instead of like big sort of seams. Just makes it easier to kind of manipulate it. Make sure the glue stick gets in there. Now you're going to take your glue gun and you're going to get all those little pieces that you maybe missed in here, because you really want this to be solid. So my plan for this wreath is to keep it on my interior doors, but if you are planning on putting this on your outdoor, like on the outside, just an extra layer might be to take some floral wire and wire those branches in. It'll just make sure that, you know, if the wind picks up or somebody slams the door, that your beautiful decorations don't go flying. There we have the base. So there's our base. Now, when I start layering the different items that I've got here, so I've got these yarn pumpkins, I've got a couple of these like little flowers, I have these, I like these, I really liked the dried orange and the pine cones and the berries. I thought that would kind of look cool together on here. And so my tip for you here is to start with the biggest item that you want to put on your wreath. So start with that, and then you can layer everything else from there. It's easier to start with that big piece and find a place for it than it is to try to like fit it in after. Okay, so I've got my material kind of placed where I think it's going to go, and here's a tip, don't forget this. take a picture of it. So by taking a picture, I can make sure that if I have to move things around in order to hot glue them, because you kind of have to take it off to then put it back on with the hot glue, then you've got a picture of it, you know exactly what your plan was. And don't worry if you've got some wires and some sections showing. You can take the little leaves and things and kind of hide them and tuck them in there to hide the wire. And you know what? No one will know. Also, when you're making your wreath, make sure you take some time to like hold it up, because holding it up, you're going to see it differently than it looked laying down. And then, like I mentioned before, you can kind of fill in the gaps and what's missing. And you can take a look too and make sure that the color, you know, you've got enough color evenly dispersed on your wreath. The wreath is done, my friends. There you have it. This is going to be our fall wreath. We're going to keep it indoors. If you are going to make a wreath for outdoors, you might want to use more than hot glue. You might want to actually use floral wire to tie that to the hoop. That way the wind doesn't take away your beautiful decorations. And I also find that with these metal hoops, sometimes they slide. And because I want this to kind of hang on the side, all I do is put an elastic here. And then when I put it on my wreath hanger, the elastic helps to hold it in place so that it will hold off center instead of sliding this way. So if you like what you saw here, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and join me every Friday when I upload new videos. And this month it's going to be all about fall, so you don't want to miss it.